clearing close in the forest you'll find a fabulous banquet, a fairy walk. If you close your eyes and you open your mind, the veil disappears and you'll see it all.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese, and today's video is one that I have been really excited to share with you guys. I have been in love with the Titanic for the longest time. Throughout my childhood, I was so fascinated with it. I watched the movie Titanic probably, I'm not even exaggerating you, like a million times. And I researched into everything and anything to do with the Titanic, the moments leading up to the horrific tragedy, which was the sinking of the Titanic. But overall, it's always been something that has fascinated me. I've personally always felt very connected to the Titanic, and sometimes I wonder if perhaps in a past life, maybe I had some sort of association with the Titanic, whether I was a passenger or maybe I longed to go on the Titanic. But needless to say, it has been a really strong passion of mine. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys something so fascinating to do with the paranormal world in correlation to the Titanic, and really just show you guys how much the paranormal world can be connected to our physical realm and dimension. Today we are going to be talking about the haunting of Titanic, the Artifact Museum in Las Vegas. And there is so much to talk about revolving around this, but I guess where I'm going to begin is I'm going to share with you guys why people believe it's haunted, what some of the most continuous sightings are, and then I really want to talk theories, because this is so incredibly fascinating for so many different reasons. So without further ado, let's get into this, because I'm really excited to share this with you guys. So since Titanic, the Artifact exhibition opened up in the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, there have been countless sightings, experiences, and just overall paranormal happenings going on within it. So what exactly this Artifact Museum is they basically recreated the Titanic in multiple ways. They've recreated the grand staircase, they've recreated the sleeping situations, and they have retrieved official artifacts from the Titanic and have put them on display in each individual room that is recreated to look like the Titanic. So what I mean by this is, let's say they had retrieved some things from the dining situation. They would have the exhibit set up in such a manner that it would resemble what the Titanic had looked like, and they would have the official artifacts there within it. Obviously, you're unable to touch it, but you can view it as any museum of artifacts is. Now, so many people have claimed that even if they haven't seen a ghost themselves or witnessed some sort of paranormal activity within the exhibit, that they have felt this feeling of being watched and this feeling of not being alone. And they claim it doesn't necessarily feel like a human watching. It really feels like it is spiritual and it is beyond our physical realm. Now, something that was completely unexplainable, and in my opinion is definitely paranormal, involved a photo of Bruce Ismay. Now, Bruce Ismay was the chairman and the managing director of White Star Line, and he actually survived the sinking of the Titanic. He was on the boat, obviously, given his role within it as the Titanic sank, but he did survive. However, he later passed away in 1937. And essentially one morning, the morning crew of the exhibition was actually opening up the exhibition and getting everything ready when they noticed that the photo of Bruce Ismay was off the wall and leaning up against the wall on the floor, but it was completely unharmed. There was no damage towards it, and this really baffled them. So the manager went ahead and reviewed the security footage to see what had happened, and what he saw, you guys, was absolutely unexplainable. He says that the photo began shaking a little bit. It was removed from the wall and gently placed on the floor by nothing. There was nothing caught on footage other than the movement of his picture, Bruce Ismay's picture, and you see it delicately fall to the floor, and there was nobody in sight. Now, I searched the internet high and low trying to find a copy of this video. I unsuccessfully did so. I was unable to find the footage, but the manager of the exhibition claims that this is 1000% what happened. Now, I don't know about you. I have had pictures and photographs and things fall off my wall before, and it was definitely not graceful. It definitely did not land all neat and tidy up against the wall with no damage, and it also didn't do so slowly. So in my opinion, as somebody who believes in the unbelievable, it must have been a ghost. Now, whether or not it was Bruce Ismay himself or what the purpose of removing the photo was, I couldn't tell you, but I found that to be very, very fascinating. So there also is a woman that is claimed to have been seen by both staff and visitors, but the staff find it to be more peculiar because they know that there should be nobody dressed in the clothing of 1812 walking up and down this grand staircase, and they know that the exhibition is not open. Now, people who have attended this exhibition, who have went to go ahead and look at the artifacts of the Titanic and experience it firsthand, have seen this woman. But I find it a little bit more reassuring that employees who know that there's no way, chance in the world that somebody should be walking that stairwell, it seems really, really plausible to me. And on top of that, they've communicated with this woman without her disappearing. I think there was actually one particular experience where an employee was trying to interact with her and was asking, do you want a picture? Like, he thought that it had been a visitor who had came in early of some sorts and was dressed in the clothing of that era, and she ignored him and disappeared, and that was when he found out that it was a ghost that people continuously saw. Now, one of the more chilling encounters that I read about was that a woman had been visiting this exhibition with her daughter when she saw a woman dressed as though she wasn't from our time period, and the woman was telling her, get out, the ship is gonna sink, get out, get out. And at first she thought it was somebody playing some sort of insensitive joke, until she realized that the woman just disappeared. And that's really when it became completely chilling, and people started to really realize that perhaps the passengers of the Titanic, the 1,496 people who so devastatingly and tragically lost their lives in the sinking of the Titanic, could be occupying the museum dedicated to their memory. And that's where I really want to get into a couple of different theories around this, because I just find it so fascinating. As far as the spirit world is concerned, obviously any tragedy and people who are trapped is never anything that excites me. I just find the paranormal world to be so fascinating. So here's my theories as to why some of, if not all of, the passengers of the Titanic are seen occupying this particular museum. I mean, first and foremost, we have to remember and analyze the fact that they have retrieved real artifacts. Artifacts that people who had ultimately lost their lives had interacted with. Perhaps it's a fork that they may have ate with. It's a plate that they dined on. Like, these were real people. These are real lives lost. And that's probably the most plausible way I can imagine that they would wind up within this museum. I don't think it's necessarily to do with the fact that it looks like the Titanic in a lot of ways. I think it's primarily to do with the fact that there are artifacts brought from the Titanic, taken from the ocean, brought into this museum, and perhaps bringing some of the spirits along with it. Now, I do think the fact that they have emulated the appearance of certain parts of the Titanic, I do think that that could play a role in their staying. Perhaps they think that they're still within that space because the energy of the artifacts that were retrieved from the Titanic are there, and on top of that, it looks very familiar. Like I told you guys in the past, a spirit who dies in any sort of a tragedy, meaning murder, suicide, car accident, sinking of a ship, things where their lives were cut short and cut abruptly, there's a large possibility that that spirit may not always recognize that they're dead. And even if they do recognize that they're dead, they may continuously relive the moments leading up to their death. So it really doesn't surprise me that they see people that they believe were on the Titanic within this particular artifact museum. Another very important thing to remember is one thing that these museums do so well. My dad actually took me when I was a child. Not really a child, I think I had to have been 12 or I think around 12 or 13, maybe a little younger. Toronto actually had a Titanic exhibition and they did the exact same thing. They recreated the hallways and the dining areas and the bedrooms and just recreated everything to do with the Titanic. And when we actually went into it, they gave me a card of a real passenger, and at the end of it all, we got to discover if our passenger had lived or passed away. And they really honored those who had lost their lives and were very prominent on educating people on what happened and the fact that these are real people and not allowing people to have that disconnect. And I believe when I was doing my research on this exhibition in Las Vegas, I really believe that they do the exact same thing there, where they educate you on the passengers, on those who lost their lives. And so perhaps that could be another majoring factor in the reasoning as to why this place is so incredibly haunted by what is thought to have been the passengers of the Titanic. I just found this to be so interesting. I mean, I find it fascinating anytime I realize how powerful the paranormal world is and how thin the veil can be between their dimension and our dimension here. Have any of you guys visited this museum? Have you visited one similar to it like I have? Do you guys have a fascination around the Titanic as well? I feel like I'm such a geek about it. Like, I love learning about stuff like this and really remembering these defining moments in history where changes and choices were made for the better of our future, as far as lifeboats in this particular situation and just overall safety on things. I think it's important to remember history, and I'm kind of a nerd like that. So things like this, where it ties into something that I loved and something that I love, paranormal, it's just, I thought it was really fascinating. If you guys have anything to say about this subject matter, I would absolutely love it if you guys would go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this. I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was interesting. And of course, when I find things fascinating and interesting, I want to come on here and share them with you guys. So I'll be reading through your comments and responding, and I'm just really excited to see what you guys think of this. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. And if you do enjoy my content, please go ahead and turn on your post notifications, as YouTube likes to do this funny thing where they don't notify people when you're uploading. And I don't want you guys to miss out on my content if you do enjoy it. And please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Oh my goodness, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. I just said like a million times. It makes my heart super happy when you guys do that. So please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, I love you.